Happy day, happy day, happy day, everyone. We are so pleased to be here to offer again this Wednesday how imposter syndrome causes burnout, combat, and thrive. Yes, Abby, so happy to be here again with you. How are you?
Hi, Erica. I'm so excited to be here with you too. We always have some good conversations in our lives that we do. I am doing well. Excited about this imposter syndrome conversation.
I
I think
know we
it's one
just
that's
came
not
out
talked
of
about enough.
business owner. We just came out of business owner burnout, and so you did mention imposter syndrome. So I want you to introduce yourself, and then tell us what is it that what is it that you want to kind of process through regarding imposter syndrome today.
Oh yes, well I am Abby. I am the CEO of Queendom Empire. I offer virtual COO services as well as online business management and help. I outsource VAs to help you with your business. So hopefully we, prevent the burnout or, stress or imposter syndrome or whatever it is that you're going through. When you need a minute, we got you covered. So imposter syndrome, I have, I think it's like I told you before. I've been questioning myself some, lately. Though hasn't really been too much of a struggle with the imposter syndrome, but um, imposter syndrome I used to struggle with bad. Um, back in the earlier days and stuff when I was first starting. Um, and even outside of just owning a business and stuff, it can be challenging. I think it makes you for if you are focused enough, it could really make you confident in who you are and where you stand as far as your business and things like that. Um, and I think it really takes a real specific person to process it through and allow that to be turned into confidence because that's not something that's really easy to do.
Oh
What do you
yes,
think?
oh yes. Um, you know, I I think that confidence is such a thing that it's it's so needed in order to move um and develop, and
Hmm.
it has a lot to do with what happened to you,
Yeah,
like what happened to you. And I feel like people have to hold space for that, like what happened to you.
yeah,
And then once you really understand what happened to you and how what happened to you should not have happened to you,
yeah, yeah.
and caring for yourself, like really caring for yourself and what happened with that, whatever happened to you, like really caring for yourself there, because then you can move beyond what happened to you.
Yeah,
And I know
cause
we're going deep today, like that. Wow, that's huge, like that's big. I think that I actually have not went here, and I appreciate you bringing this up. I haven't been here when I talk about imposter syndrome. I pretty much usually say, "Hey, you have imposter syndrome, but you're amazing, so be great," But if you never address what's happened to you to cause you to not feel like you're great, or feel like you're special, or that you're seen and heard and known, then that has to happen. That's a step.
mhm.
or then imposter syndrome will continue to plague you.
Right. Right, because you start to believe whatever the thoughts, whatever the thoughts are, because that's really what imposter syndrome is. It's the thoughts you have about yourself, right? So then you got to question, why am I feeling this way, or why do I say that I'm not, um whatever the case, that I'm not a business owner, that I'm not good, that I'm not enough, or why am I so down on myself? And yeah, sometimes it can come from things that you've been through and stuff, and just people that used to speak that negativity over you. You don't realize how much you're really adopting that, um and really taking that in until it shows somewhere where you're supposed to be, where you're called to, where you're supposed to shine, you know so that kind of goes back with allowing yourself to have space and stuff, as we was talking about earlier, because you have to deal with those. You gotta deal with those. So when somebody says, yeah, you're not um good enough, or I don't like this, or I don't like that and stuff, I mean, there's sometimes people simplify it as, okay, so just don't use me. And there's sometimes there's really nothing wrong with that either. But you still got to have the confidence that the people you're supposed to help, and that you're supposed to serve, and that you're supposed to be around, and to um, help in their in whatever way in their business and things like that. You got to trust that, look, you're not for everybody, and everybody's not for you. That's just what it is. But I guarantee you that don't have um you don't have one person that knows you like you do, if you give yourself that time. So really, what can they say? I hope that made sense.
I
Or I
mean,
hope that's making
they
sense.
no, no, I that does make sense, and they will never know you the way you know you. It's
Mhm.
just, I think a lot of times we are so conditioned to look on the outside for permission. I mean, just think about that. Growing up, you had to get permission for everything.
Yeah.
You had to get the
Yeah.
permission to go to the bathroom. You had to get permission to to you know like everything, everything. And
Mhm.
so you are always asking for permission to be great.
Yeah.
And that's what imposter syndrome is. It's basically, I need permission to shine. And then you don't get the permission because it makes other people feel inadequate with you shining so brightly. But the thing is, such a conflict because you can't help it.
Yeah.
You can't help how amazing you are. You can't help being a natural genius. You can't help being perfection. You can't help being a superstar, superhero. You can't help being radiant, being magnificent, being a natural genius. You can't help it.
Right. Right. And it
Then,
may be new territory, because you may not know someone who was like that, right? You may not know what to do with that. I think
yeah.
some people are afraid of that too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you haven't had many circumstances around you where you are experiencing a person who is actually operating in their zone of expertise, and their, because and I'm radically and unapologetically operating that way, then you don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you never have permission to be that and to do that.
Yep. Yep. And it's not that you need permission from other people. You really need it from yourself. And you
Come
need to
on.
that kind of goes with acceptance, and that kind of goes with the
Woo.
confidence and stuff like that, because you need to be so confident in yourself and know who you are as a person, and know, like I said before, what you will allow and what you won't allow. You need to be confident in who you are and how you'll be able to handle things to be able to successfully combat the imposter syndrome, because it's really not easy for anybody. When you allow people to speak over you, got to be careful who you allow to speak over you too. You got to be careful um who you really listen to and things like that, because I mean, that's not the truth. They don't know you like you know you, whether you want to believe that or not. They don't know you like you know you. You have to walk in your shoes, not them. Hi, I hope that's Cyrus Murphy. Hey, how are you? So, what about situations where you have all of the pieces in place but are concerned not being qualified due to the lack of credentials? That is a good question. I never let credentials stop me. Before I even get into a story, Erica, what do you have?
No, ma'am.
Something
You
you want
may.
to
No,
say?
ma'am. No, ma'am. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, I never let credentials, stop me. Um, I will sit there and talk to you all day about something, and I will talk you through something. I will talk with you through something. We're gonna help figure it out. I am not a licensed therapist. Erica is. However, we both Erica and I work very closely together and stuff, but we both think a lot alike, and we both kind of process things the same. So that's really just an example. But um I'm a medical coder by trade, right? I can do this without a credential. There are some people who still do it without credentials. Most places want credentials these days. I think credentials are, in my personal opinion, this is my personal opinion, they can be a bit of a scam, because nothing, I'm just going to say, I mean, like, listen, because nothing speaks like experience. So, Cyrus, let me ask you, are you confident in the experience that you have versus the credentials that you think you need?
Come on. Excellent question. Can you repeat that?
So, are you confident in the experience that you have versus the credentials that you need?
Woo! And while he's answering that question, I'm gonna come in and say this piece, and you all can find this information on my website under the corporate escape program, which that's what I am promoting here on this particular event, is my corporate escape program. It talks about my story, and my story is that I set out to be a therapist and to get licensed as a therapist. And while trying to get licensed as a therapist, I had several traumatic situations happen to me, including, almost being kidnapped while trying to be a therapist, being bullied, coerced by my supervisors, working on getting my license. I lost a baby as well. I lost my entire social support system, recognizing that they were leeches instead of supporters. Because at that moment in my life, I was always helping people, and on high, always so there for everyone. I built up all these monsters around me that was sucking me dry. And so when I lost the baby, they could not be there for me because they did not even know how to do that. Okay. And
Mhm.
then I went to sit for for my last exam, and they turned me away because I had my daughter with me as a single mother. And at that point, that was my breaking point, because I had clients that I was seeing. And could not finish my license. So I pivoted into a coaching business and offered them mental health coaching. And that's all I did, was because they already had a beautiful relationship with them, was I changed the informed consent, and I saw them as a coach. And that's what I'm offering with the Corporate Escape Program, is for people to pivot their expertise that they have into a thriving coaching business. You will walk away into a thriving coaching business within 10 weeks. I will help you launch. I will walk you through. I will give you a credential. You will be a certified coach. Just because you may want that, but it's not necessary. You will have a business making money. And that's the important thing. So, yes. Cyrus does respond. He responded and said, 50-50. The issue falls to me not having the credential to do anything outside of coaching or consultation.
Says who? Well, no, and I mean that because if it's your business, and I'm just kind of going off comments and things like that, I really highly suggest that you get a consultation with Erica or I, but I know Erica would talk you through with this, and if you feel comfortable to keep asking questions, because I'm the one to ask questions. You can ask Erica. I will.
She asks a question. Okay.
So, I mean, that kind of, are you trying to get a job with another employer, or are you trying to build a business? Because you have significantly less rules in your business. You just have to, build it accordingly. You have to have the right stuff behind you.
I'm so happy you said that. A lot of people will go get an education in something and never ever use it. Or they'll go get, so it's actually more, it makes more sense to build a business around something from an expertise that you have. And then if you think that you need a license in order to do whatever it is that you want to do, in conjunction with that, allow the business to pay for that.
Right. Because we're not saying that you don't have to get the credentials, but at the same time, you got to ask the right questions. So, as far as like outside of the issue falls me not having the credentials to do anything outside of coaching or consulting. Okay, so there's a lot of variables that would go into that. So that's why I said, we
have to keep asking the questions. You're right.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about work interacting with me, is that we're going to ask those questions in this program. We're going to go deep. We're going to ask the questions. We're going to get the answers. A lot of times we don't ask the questions, and then we don't go and pursue the answers. But sometimes it just takes a conversation and a little research to get all the answers. And then what can you do, Abby? Create a standard operating procedure that's going to get you to whatever outcome you ultimately want in that huge vision that you have for yourself. But you're going to have to take some steps and take the steps that's going to get you to where you ultimately want to go. But you don't have to wait for the end game. You can take steps.
Absolutely. And if you still feel like after the conversation and stuff, when we get more clarity, if you feel like that you need, the credentials and stuff like that, then there's ways that you can get there even without, there's ways you can get there without the credentials until you get to, where you want to be. I mean,
right. Because most credentials cost a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And so if you need that, then why wait, be in a situation that isn't fulfilling you, that you're not building up a clientele for whenever you do get the credential.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, there's always a way to do something.
Oh, you know what? It takes just some time to sit and think and strategically. That's about that strategic planning.
Yeah.
Strategically planning out what, and going back to curating the experience that you want to have instead of one that you believe that you must follow. How about we be innovative and decide to do the most radical circumstances? What's stopping you?
Yep.
Like I find, listen, I want to do the most radical things. I like, who's going to stop me if I'm not breaking the law? Who is going to stop me? I want to be as free and to do whatever I want to do, honey. Even there are, listen, there's white men that are breaking laws and doing whatever the fuck they want to do, and why is it that we're stopping ourselves from doing that?
Yep. Yep. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing with imposter syndrome. I think what Cyrus had asked. It's a very valid question, um, because I know that when I was looking into starting my business and figuring out what I wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? I've considered, coaching. I don't know if I could really, do that. But I mean, and I know online business
Actually,
managers.
Abby, you coach me. I don't know if you know that. We
Well,
just
I
talked
have
about
no
how you
credentials,
always
so
asking
Cyrus, there's your
questions.
answer.
That's what coaches do.
Yeah.
They ask
Yeah.
questions to get you to answer. You think deeply to answer the question.
Yeah. And it is important to have a coach and a good,
And an
mentor and stuff like that.
accountability
I
partner.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, there's your answer. But also I'd have online business managers, who are they don't have the certification, but guess what? They do what they do. They do. I mean,
Because let me tell you what it's really about. Everything that you do, everything. Oh, I hope you're listening to me right now, Cyrus, and anybody else. Everything you do is about relationship. It's not about a credential. It's about relationship.
yeah, it is.
It is. That's
Mhm.
how you get anywhere in business or anywhere you want to go, is by you building the relationships around you. Listen, Cyrus, you could meet somebody while you're working on this credential or working as a coach or a consultant that will invest in you to go get whatever you need.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah.
I mean, like, a part of me, I want a PhD. I would like somebody to pay for that. Actually,
I hear you.
I'm so happy that I just thought that, so then I can bring that to be a reality for me, because it hadn't crossed my mind. But you know what? Somebody should pay for my PhD. Yes, they should. Somebody should.
I believe it'll happen.
And you
It
know
will
what?
happen.
Listen, that's all I need. I appreciate you agreeing with me, because there's such thing as honorary PhDs. Yes, it is. It's a such thing as an honorary. Have y'all ever heard of, like, celebrities get honorary PhDs?
I don't think I have ever heard that, to be honest with you. But I,
Yeah.
I've said before. I mean, and this is just me personally. I'm done with school. I done dug myself in so much debt. I'm trying to take care of that now.
But
So
there, you can go online right now and get a PhD. And when I say go online and get a PhD, I'm talking about like buy one.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So uh, so when you said that credentials are a scam, they are. That's a way to stop people from activating on their expertise and their gift and their purpose,
Well,
saying they
what
must jump through another hoop.
it's another business strategy for other people in business, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, because
It really is a
the
business
person
strategy.
that you're getting a credential from, they're what? They're running a business.
Yep.
They're running a business.
So, Osiris, that would kind of go um, back into. He says legally, I can only do coaching consultation because I'm not certified. I'm not able to provide a large majority of the services my clientele would want, which seems counterproductive for building clients to send people to find the services elsewhere. Well, okay. So, first of all, have you ever heard of a finder's fee? And I'm just going to relate
Yes.
this to I'm just going to relate this to that. Have you ever heard of a finder's fee? I used to own well, I own a piece of land. My dad verbally gave it to me, but never gave me the paperwork, so it was taken right out from under me. Anyway, somebody called about the property, wanted it, offered my parents a finder's fee. They got paid for that. You know, I have referral fees when I refer VAs and stuff like that. That's between me and them. But my VAs do the work; they get paid for it. They give me a finder's a referral fee for it.
Yeah.
So it
Thank you,
depends on how
Abby.
it depends on how your business is structured, and that goes into
Right.
you're talking about. I'm not able to provide a large majority of the services my clientele would want. What services are you talking about, if I may ask?
Okay, and so I'm glad that you mentioned that, Abby, is going back to the steps. Like I think in our minds we think that okay, this is where I want to go, but there are steps that you can take in the meantime. If you are a person that is a thought leader and an expert and a go-to person for this thing, then people are going to keep coming to you due to the relationship. So then, whenever you level up in anything that you're doing, then they will be there to take whatever services that you level up into.
Absolutely.
So, going back to what you said about a finder's fee or referral fee, yes, you can actually have, for example, Abby is a COO that outsources VAs and OBMs. So she has the resources. People come to her and gets a consultation with her. Then she delegates out who will work with this person. And so she is the resource hub for what she's offering. That's a way that she has decided to create and to do her business. You can do that in the meantime. You get a referral fee for sending them to these other people until you get to wherever you want to go, and then you can take over that service and you don't have to send them anywhere. Or you may have so many people that you work with that you still need to send people places.
And
And that's
that's where you start to build a team.
yes.
So when as you're sending people to find services elsewhere, what do you have those people on your team?
And
have
guess
you
what?
have you set up
That's
a
called
meeting with them?
having, that's called having, which is a profit strategy, having joint ventures. Joint
Mm-hmm.
ventures is very lucrative as a profit strategy.
Yep.
You're supposed to have
Absolutely.
all your people, your competitors, as well as anybody who is affiliated with what you're doing. You're supposed to have them as a referral source. and get a kickback for sending people to them.
Yeah.
For
So
example,
that,
a wedding planner will have florists that they work with. They will have event spaces that they work with. They would have limousine drivers that they work with. Like they will have all these people that they then say, okay, I have this event, I have this thing, I have this person, and they need to go here, 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 here. And you're getting money from sending them to this place.
yeah.
Do you see how?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of times we put limits on things. We put limits on ourselves. But you don't have to have any limits.
Right. Right. And of course there is a way to do that. There is a way to handle that and stuff. But I mean, we just kind of talk through that issue right there without even knowing any more details than what you're giving. Because look, I mean, we've been there too. I do believe that when there's a will, there's a way. And so,
There,
like Erica just
baby,
said,
baby.
when you put limits on yourself, and you start to limit yourself, that's when you need to give yourself space. That's part of imposter syndrome because you're
Yes, it
limiting
is.
yourself,
Yeah. So
and you have
going
to.
back to my story, I gave mental health coaching, but that didn't stop me from ultimately getting my license as a therapist. It didn't stop me from getting a credential as a positive intelligence coach. So I am also a positive intelligence coach. I am also credentialed in those ways too. Now I didn't stop me from doing that, but in the meantime, I had to eat and I had to figure out how I was going to make sure that my daughter and I were able to keep moving in my own business.
Mm-hmm.
So I created and had coaching in the meantime. It would not, okay. So it would mean the end of a relationship. Why deal with a third party instead of the source? Okay. Because you're the go to person, you're the resource.
Sometimes people trust the resource on where to go versus the actual source. Do you know how many times resources have helped me? Well, and I understand that he says I'm speaking from experience, and I understand that. That's where going back to building relationships and things like that. It's important. So
Okay,
you know,
this goes into marketing strategy.
hmm
Because if you work with people who are interested in, if you have your clientele that work with people who are interested in you and the relationship with you, then you won't have a problem with sending them wherever. For example, I work with people okay, for example, as a coach. If they are unable to, if I need somebody to go to a specialized place to work with somebody, I'll send them to that person. But that person always comes back to me if they need anything else, or if they think that I could be a benefit to them, or if that person does not give them the experience that I could give them.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I mean, I know we can't, like, it takes uh us to sit and have a conversation with you to kind of map out what it would look like for you to get to where you're wanting to go in your business. Um, but I would say, let's look at what is the feelings that are coming up in you that makes you second guess moving however you want to move. Why? What is the emotions that's coming up? Because there is self-sabotage, there's procrastination, there is many symptoms that show up in imposter syndrome. And then all of those symptoms cause you to then feel lose your passion for what you're wanting to ultimately do, which causes the burnout. Now, it is 12:21. We're past time. So we're going to go ahead and end. Abby, if you can just give us your ending, or your how people can reach out to you and work with you, and then I will give mine, and then we'll end our session.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I can be found on LinkedIn, and I do also have an outsourcing guide for VAs. I know that, which Erica, thank you for putting that in the chat. Um, Cyrus, thank you for your participation. I really enjoyed that conversation. And if you link up with, either myself or Erica, I mean, there are ways where you can make what you want to make happen, especially if you're already doing coaching and consulting on, I'm assuming on firearms. I could be very incorrect, but we would love to have a conversation with you, and just anybody else listening in, who may need the help to combat the imposter syndrome. Because like I said before, when there's a will, there's a way. And when you're putting limits on yourself and things like that, I mean, you're only going to go as far as your mind is going to allow you.
Come on, speak.
So, I mean, that's just the truth. That's something that I've had to learn as well. And it wasn't really the easiest of lessons. Okay. But it's possible. So thank you again for your participation. We look forward to hearing from you. I can be found on LinkedIn at Abby Lee, with a picture of me with my logo. So you'll be able to find me there. And Erica, this has been amazing. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so much, Abby. Thank you for doing how imposter syndrome causes burnout, combat, and thrive. I am Erica Kessie. I love Forwards with Mysterious Wisdom, celebrating life. And I have a coaching certification program called Corporate Escape, where you can escape out of your circumstances, out of your toxic work environment or situation where you're not satisfied, into a thriving coaching business. And I'll be happy to walk you through all the pieces of it, starting with you really focusing in on yourself and getting that confidence, eliminating the self-doubt, and then launching. We will walk through strategic planning, marketing, and all the pieces that you need in order to thrive in your business. And so let's talk. And if anyone's out there interested, just reach out. You can book a session with me, bit.ly/15 Erica chat. I did put the link of the landing page in here as well for people to see. And you can see my story and ask the reason that I offer this to people. And let's see. That's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. See you all next week for how imposter syndrome causes burnout, combat, and thrive. And anybody out there who wants to have a session, please reach out. We will love to talk with you. Abby and I would just like to talk about what are your options, and to help get those limits knocked off of you so that you can soar. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.